Imagine you are stuck in a deep, dark hole. You hear the voices from your friends. You hear well-meaning advice like,
Just go outside. Try to think positive.
but none of it reaches your mind. It feels as if you are trapped behind a thick wall of bulletproof glass. What if the best tool to shatter that glass isn't a conversation or a pill? What if it's a language your brain understands even when you can't find the words to speak? Today, we are looking at why music therapy isn't esoteric hocus pocus, but a scientifically proven weapon against depression, and how it can fundamentally rewire your dopamine levels, brain waves, and nervous system from the ground up. To understand why music is so powerful in treating depression, we first need to understand how our brain responds to sound. Over the past decade, the neuroscience of music has made massive strides, like fMRI scans shows us in real time what happens when we listen to or create music. The entire brain lights up like a Christmas tree. The limbic system, while spoken language has to be processed and analyzed by the cerebral cortex first, music takes a shortcut. It travels directly to the limbic system. That is the emotional center of your brain, the place where memories, fears, joy, and grief are processed. The evolution of music. Throughout human history, music was never just entertainment. It was a tool for social bonding, regulating stress levels around the campfire, and creating shared emotional experiences. Our brains are naturally hardwired to respond to rhythm and harmony, long before we ever learned words. Systematic reviews, such as the famous meta-analysis by the Cochrane collaboration, clearly demonstrate that when music therapy is combined with standard care, like psychotherapy or medication, depressive symptoms decreases significantly faster and more sustainably than with standard care alone. But why is depression so notoriously difficult to treat in the first place? Let's look at the problem from both a biological and psychological perspective. Chemical stagnation, anhedonia, one of the most agonizing symptoms of depression is anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure or anything at all. The brain's dopaminergic reward system is essentially frozen. Things that used to bring joy, hobbies, good food, or spending time with friends simply trigger no response. Emotional speechlessness. You might know this feeling when you are hurting, but when a therapist asks you, how do you feel? You can't find the words. In cases of severe depression, brain scans often show reduced activity in speech centers. The pain is there, but it is mute. Chronic stress mode, the sympathetic dominance. Biologically, the body in a depressive state is under constant strain. The autonomic nervous system is locked in a perpetual fight or flight response. Cortisol levels, the stress hormone, remain chronically elevated, and at heart rate variability plunges. The brain constantly floods the body with alarm signals, a state that leaves a person mentally and physically exhausted. The problem is clear. We are dealing with the brain that is biologically blocked, emotionally paralyzed, and overwhelmed by stress. How do you break out of a vicious cycle like that? This is where modern neuroscience and psychotherapy go on the offensive. We no longer accept just enduring depression or muting its symptoms. The objective of modern research is clear. We want to leverage the brain's neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means the brain is not fixed, it is malleable. It can form new neural connections, dismantle old blockages, and reactive dormant networks. The goal: we need to find a jumpstart to reward system without overwhelming the patient with complex cognitive tasks. The holistic approach, it's about unfreezing that emotional paralysis, signaling to the nervous system, you are safe now, and creating a secure environment where emotions can be processed, even when words aren't available. Not a miracle cure, but a catalyst. Music therapy isn't meant to replace traditional therapy. It accelerates. It acts as a key that unlocks the door for both the therapist and the patient. Sounds simple enough, right? Just play some music and problem solved. But in reality, we hit massive roadblocks, both in the brain and in people's minds. The logic barrier. In conventional talk therapy, we try to solve emotional problems using logical language. The issue, the cortex, which is our thinking brain, rationalization, it frequently uses defense mechanism, suppression, excuses. But deep-seated grief lives in the limbic system, a place where logic often can't reach. I'm not musical myth. When patients hear the term music therapy, 90% of them think, I can play an instrument. I'm tone deaf. This isn't for me. This misconception is a huge hurdle. Therapy is not about talent, performance, or making aesthetic art. The paradox of sad music. Another obstacle is the fear of facing one's own feelings. Many believe if I'm already depressed, listening to sad music will only drag me deeper. Yet science shows that the exact opposite often appears when approached correctly, rather than burying emotions out of fear. Here is the solution, and how music therapy dismantles those obstacles with surgical precision. The biological switches in the brain. Listening to music that moves you emotionally triggers a release of dopamine in the reward system. This helps to break through anhedonia, vagus nerve activation. Slow, rhythmic frequencies stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest mode. Your heart rate slows, heart rate variability increases, and cortisol level drops, calming the amygdala. Music reduces hyperactive signaling in the brain's fear center, shifting the nervous system from a state of danger to safety. So, which are the modalities of music therapy? There is the receptive music therapy and the active music therapy. In the receptive music therapy, the therapist selects specific musical pieces or acoustic frequencies. Here, therapists utilize the ISO principle. They start with music that mirrors the patient's current emotional state, sad or melancholic. The brain feels validated and understood. Only after that disconnection is made, the music gradually shifted towards a brighter, more energizing tone. Active music therapy. You don't need to be Chopin or Kurt Cobain or someone else. In active therapy, you might simply beat a drum or use singing bowls. Why? Because striking a drum releases pent up anger or grief. It instantly restores a sense of self-efficacy. That means that I'm taking action, I'm producing a sound, I am gaining control. So, what's the conclusion? To summarize, music isn't a magic cure that wipes away depression overnight, but it is a neurobiological master key. It breaks through silence, it calms an overworked nervous system, and gently jumpstarts the brain's reward pathways. If you ever feel like words aren't enough, consider exploring receptive or active music therapy. Talk to a doctor or a licensed mental health professional about incorporating it into your journey. Thanks for watching. Here I will link you to my meditation playlist, and here you can leave a sub to support my work and take care of yourself. Your Valeroy.
I am learning to be gentle with myself. I am learning to be gentle with myself. I am learning to be gentle with myself.